How do you control the client that just will not listen to you? Maybe they think they know what they want, or maybe they're just straight up ignoring your advice, but how do you control the conversation that seems to have gotten away from you? Well, that's what we're going to talk about in this video, so stay tuned, and that's going to start right now. This is about the combination of creativity and business. This isn't an aesthetic decision, this is a business decision. If you've worked as a creative professional for more than 2.5 seconds, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We've all had clients that just refuse to listen to our advice. They see you as a service provider, they don't really care about the value that you're bringing, and whatever you seem to tell them, they just will straight up ignore. Now, don't get me wrong, as creatives, we love our clients. And if you are a client, just don't be the one that brushes off the creative and doesn't listen to anything they have to say. But if you're a creative professional and you know what's best and you're trying to help a business and they just aren't listening to you, what do you do? What do you do when that conversation seems to have gone completely awry? There's a really simple trick that I like to use to kind of take a step back and help communicate the value that I'm bringing to a client. That trick is to ask a lot of questions. Switch the conversation from a conversation to a questioning session. Now, I'm not talking about an interrogation session. You're not going in there like, "Tell me about your brand or else." Rather, what I mean is whoever's asking the most questions is in control of the conversation. So go in there and start asking the what and why questions to get to the core of the why behind the project. What you have to understand about creative services is that we are solving business problems, and we're the only ones who have the capability to solve their problem, despite what some of them might think. So rather than getting frustrated because they aren't listening to you, you have to understand that you're just not doing a good job explaining why and how you're going to solve their problem. This is where questioning comes in, and it really can help you get to the bottom of what they're really going through and helping them understand through their own answers what they want out of you. For example, let's say that this is a branding project, because that's what I do, branding. And the client is just adamant that they want their logo to look like the poop emoji. Now, I know, and you might know, that the poop emoji is not going to be a good look for their brand, but they are absolutely adamant that they saw this out there, they thought it was great, and they want that as the logo. They just want me to come in and create that logo. So what do? We start asking questions such as, why are you rebranding in the first place? What are you expecting to get out of this rebrand? What would be the results of that rebrand at the end of the rebrand process? And what would be the results that you would look for 5 years down the road or 10 years down the road? When you start asking questions like this, they have to turn from do this, do this, do this, to actually answering the questions about the problem that they're facing. Odds are you're gonna actually end up backing them into a corner with their own answers as they start to really process the why behind what they want. For example, you might say, okay, I understand that you are really adamant about wanting this poop emoji logo, but can I ask what it is about this logo that appeals to you that you think represents your brand identity? Now you've forced them to think about not the logo itself, but the why behind what they're wanting. They might say, well, I kind of like the goofy eyes, and I really think that that appeals to our audience. At that point, you've extracted something of value out of that conversation, and you can come back and say, okay, so I understand that you really like the eyes of this logo and, this character. You think that the eyes are friendly and they're fun and maybe a little goofy and they appeal to your audience. So let's kind of explore that avenue and talk about why those emotions relate to your audience. Or if those do, maybe you could approach it and say, would you be open to seeing other examples of a similar style with different shapes or different characters? That way, when you come back to them with ideas, your ideas, you can tie back some of those emotional feelings that they had toward what they wanted and say, hey, look, I know we talked about wanting to do this, but I extracted the emotion, the why, the reasoning out of that task. And here you can see I've implemented that why or that reasoning into this project, and now we have something that still accomplishes the goal that you set forth, but it's being done in a way that I know is going to be effective for your company. The key is just to continue to ask those why questions and dig into the reasoning and the emotional part of the problem that the customer is actually facing. That way you can make sure that you're actually solving the right problems, and they'll walk away happy even though they didn't get anything like what they thought they were going to get or what they thought they needed. You were able to uncover not just what they thought they needed, but why they need it. And then you solved that problem for them. Your clients are going to find immense value out of that aspect of creativity. So start asking better questions of your clients, asking more questions of your clients, and getting into the why behind the project. Now, it's important to understand that not every client values the creative process, and not every client values what you can bring to the table. So you will inevitably run up against people who just are strong-headed and they think they know what they want, and they're not even willing to answer your questions. In that case, you're just gonna have to understand that either you can do what they want, or you'll have to take a step back and say, you know what? I don't think we're a good fit together. There are some people out there that are just like that, and that's a sad reality, but for the vast majority of clients and client interactions, them trying to dictate the process or just give you a task to accomplish means that there's a miscommunication of what the problem, the solution, and the value actually are. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please like, comment, and share. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments section, and if you have questions on branding, creativity, logo design, any of those topics, please shoot me a message or leave me a comment, and I would love to add them to my video queue. In the meantime, I'll see you all in the next video.